Good afternoon. This is the briefing for Gulf Disturbance number 92L. This is Lance Wood here at the National Weather Service Houston Galveston office, and I'm the Science and Operations Officer here. So we'll start with a situational overview. I've got a visible satellite imagery here up on the left. So what we currently have going on is a broad area of surface low pressure. It's kind of hard to find a center, honestly. Yesterday we had a little bit better low center in the southern Bay of Campeche down there in the southern Gulf. Right now the center may actually be right there on the coastline of the Mexican coast there in the southern Gulf. Like again, it's kind of hard to find. It's poorly organized. There's also a surface trough of low pressure that kind of extends southwest to northeast across the central Gulf, and there's a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity with that particular feature as well. And you kind of see, if you look closely on this visible satellite imagery, you can see some of the high clouds. Those are the cirrus clouds kind of being blown off to the east-northeast from the thunderstorms. That's indicative of our west to southwesterly shear that we have present over the Gulf, which is an inhibiting factor for development. And we expect that southwesterly shear is going to continue here the next few days over the entire Gulf of Mexico. Taking a look at the tropical weather outlook issued by the National Hurricane Center. This is the latest one, issued about an hour ago. And we've zoomed in again on our disturbance here on the left on the 2-day outlook. And right now we're seeing about a 70% chance of development the next 48 hours. And since it's so poorly organized right now at the moment, it's not really the whole 48 hours. I would say don't worry about the next 18 or so, but tomorrow definitely we'll be monitoring for some development, and especially into tomorrow night and Friday. And then if you do look at the whole period, to look on the graphic on the right, this is the 5-day outlook. So basically now through the weekend, and notice the probability is a little bit higher, 90%. So we're basically expecting a depression or a storm to develop, and it looks like Thursday or Friday, kind of in the west central or western Gulf in that red hatched area. And that's nothing new. The only thing that's kind of been changing is those numbers have been gradually creeping up as we've gotten here to the mid to late week period. Well, the Weather Prediction Center actually puts out forecasts or outlooks for pressure systems and fronts and such. And if you take a look at what they issued this morning, this would be pretty close to, if we had a track forecast, where we would expect the center of 92L to be Saturday morning, which would be basically approaching the Louisiana coastline. Now, some of our guidance this morning, and so these models that run, starting in the morning and just coming in during the morning, are kind of advertising maybe possibly a little bit further east than that, but definitely somewhere along the southern Louisiana coast, we would be expecting what becomes of 92L, whether or not it's a depression or storm, to be getting close there Saturday morning to Louisiana coast. And if you look at Sunday's outlook, it's going to move, expected to move east northeast once inland across Louisiana into Mississippi. So definitely will probably take on a little bit more easterly track with time. So once the development occurs in the Gulf, expecting kind of a north to northeast movement, and then a little bit more of an east northeast movement as we get through the weekend. So that's kind of the scenario we're expecting, a depression or storm to form here Thursday or Friday, and then likely making landfall Friday night into Saturday time period, and most likely somewhere along the Louisiana coast. Now, also of note, and I talked about this southwesterly shear, but the consensus of our model guidance indicates that the rainfall and winds are going to be greatest east of the center, and they could be displaced a little bit ways from the center. So there's not going to be a whole lot of rain or winds, we think, on the west side of the system, which is good news right now for southeast Texas. And it's possible that we'll see the Hurricane Center start to issue forecast advisories tomorrow. Could also be, tomorrow night or Friday as well as any tropical storm watches or warnings that would be needed along the northern Gulf Coast. They could call it a potential tropical cyclone before it actually becomes a depression, if that's the case tomorrow, or they could, decide that it has become a depression tomorrow night. Air Force reconnaissance is scheduled to investigate sort of midday tomorrow. So nothing's going to happen, like I said earlier, we think tonight, or probably not even first thing in the morning. But as we go through the day on Thursday, it's possible we'll see some formation occur as our disturbance lifts to the north. The rainfall forecast, I kind of alluded to this. Not a lot of rainfall expected across most of southeast Texas. As we get into sort of the Friday night period, Friday evening period, some rain bands will be likely approaching the coast. So you can see that our rainfall amounts go up quite a bit Friday night through Saturday into Saturday evening, with some amounts, possibly approaching an inch, very, very far eastern part of our area, so kind of east of Galveston. And then as you get into southwest Louisiana, that's where you could get into more of the 2 to 4 inch type scenario. The excessive rainfall outlook kind of mirrors what you saw on that second rainfall outlook. So where you saw those heavier totals over there in southwest Louisiana, that's where the slight risk is. And then the marginal risk kind of over in the Beaumont, Port Arthur area, pretty much east of the area of our responsibility, which goes up to High Island. Severe weather outlook looks kind of similar. This is the day 3 outlook, so this would be Friday and Friday night. Again, as those rain bands do approach, again, mainly the Louisiana coast, but some of them could kind of edge over here a little bit. You have that rotation with the vortex as it approaches land, and sometimes we see some isolated tornadoes spin up in those rain bands, so that's why that marginal risk is there in that outlook. Tide water level forecast. So this is the Galveston Bay entrance, just giving you an idea what the upper Texas coast looks like for the potential water level rises. So right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. So that gray area that you see kind of 7 a.m. Friday all the way through Saturday on the right part of the graphic, those are kind of what our ensemble of models are showing as the possibility of water levels. And so you sort of see the mean forecast in black there. So we definitely think above normal water levels are coming. But whether or not they'll be problematic is a bit uncertain, just primarily due to, what is the strength of the system and exactly where is that center as we get into Friday and Saturday. But a good bet that we will be above normal, and it's possible they'd be 1.5 feet above normal, which could give us some minor issues at times of high tide, getting up to maybe 3 to 3.5 feet above mean lower low water. But that's good news that this has come down a little bit from what I looked at yesterday. Yesterday, the tide levels were up closer to 4, and again, some of our model guidance was a little bit further to the west yesterday than it is today. But just note there's a lot of uncertainty, and right now that's just due to the fact that we're not sure of the exact track structure of intensity yet. The marine forecast, this is mainly there to show you the arrival of 6-foot seas to the upper Texas coastal waters in the near shore, so 0 to 20 nautical miles offshore. So those wave heights will start picking up Friday night. I have a 1 a.m. image here to show you that on Saturday, and then they start to subside. It looks like by Saturday evening. So late Friday night and Saturday, we're going to be dealing, with maybe even some 6 to 7 foot seas there in the near shore waters. Further offshore, more like 6 to 10 feet. And right now, I'm not expecting 30+ knot winds across the upper Texas coastal waters, so no need to try to time that. We will see the rip current threat increase on Friday, and we believe it will subside by late Saturday. So some key takeaways: tropical depression or storm likely to form in the Western Gulf Thursday or Friday. Landfall is looking like somewhere along the Louisiana coast. Wouldn't want to be any more specific than that at this point. And it kind of looks like Friday night into Saturday window would be the time frame for landfall. And a lot of our global models are advertising, right around first thing Saturday morning is probably the highest chance, if you had to put the highest period there. But it's still possible in that general window, I think. So right now for Southeast Texas, the expectation is above normal tides, especially Friday and Saturday. Minor coastal flooding possible at high tide. We'll have some wave action. We know we have those long period swells that are going to be, impinging upon the coast. That tends to drive some wave run up. And then rip currents will pick up on Friday and probably peak Friday night into Saturday morning. I put a medium forecast confidence on this just because we haven't seen development yet. So there's still some inherent uncertainty until you see exactly where your low center forms, tomorrow or Friday. But right now, the modeling trend being a little bit east of us is good news here today.